For decades, the world's digital infrastructure has been grounded firmly on Earth. Massive warehouses filled with servers, endless rows of blinking lights. And with the advent of AI, an increasingly growing appetite for power, water, and land. But now the next frontier may not be underground or underwater, but 800 kilometers above our heads. The shifting of energy-guzzling AI infrastructure from Earth to orbit promises unlimited solar power and cooler operations in the vacuum of space. I'm Afzal Ahmed and this is Aloud. This show brings you articles made for audio. In this episode, we've adapted the piece, The New Space Race, Why AI Giants Are Betting on Orbital Data Centers, by Kazim Alam, published on TRT World on February the 4th, 2026. China has announced a 5-year plan to deploy these data centers in orbit. Elon Musk revealed that SpaceX is moving aggressively in the same direction. So is Google. And analysts say a new space race is quietly underway, not for astronauts, but for compute power. The idea is simple, but radical. If AI infrastructure is overwhelming Earth's resources with its insatiable hunger for energy, why not just move it into space? The pressure is real. Training today's large AI models consumes enormous amounts of electricity, enough to power hundreds of thousands of homes each year. Data centers strain local power grids. They also consume vast quantities of water just to stay cool. In some regions near major data hubs, electricity prices have jumped nearly 300% in just 5 years, and a single mid-sized US data center can use around 2 million liters of water every day. For AI companies racing to scale, Earth is starting to look, well, crowded. Space, on the other hand, offers tempting advantages. Unlimited sunlight, no clouds, no night. In orbit, solar panels can harvest energy up to 8 times more efficiently than those on the ground. And cooling? In theory, the vacuum of space allows heat to radiate away without fans or water. Elon Musk believes this is the future. In late 2025, he said SpaceX will be doing data centers in space by scaling up next-generation Starlink satellites into floating supercomputers linked by high-speed lasers. He claims SpaceX could deliver 100 gigawatts of power to high Earth orbit within 5 years, and eventually even up to 100 terawatts from the moon from a lunar base. To get there, Musk is raising $25 billion. Google is thinking big too. Its Project Suncatcher explores solar-powered satellite networks equipped with AI chips operating in sun-synchronous orbits, paths that keep satellites in near-constant sunlight. 2 prototype satellites are planned for 2027. CEO Sundar Pichai says that within a decade, space-based data centers could feel as normal as today's cloud servers. These satellite networks can harvest energy up to 8 times more efficiently than ground-based solar panels in the absence of nighttime darkness or clouds. And Google isn't alone. A dozen or so players, including OpenAI, are watching closely. But the dream runs into physics, because while space is cold, it's also a vacuum. AI chips generate intense heat. On Earth, fans and liquid cooling move that heat away. In space, there's no air to blow. According to Germain Gutierrez of the European Space Policy Institute, thermal management is a headline challenge. Heat must be radiated away, and at AI training scales, that becomes a megastructure problem. Not just bigger heat sinks, but massive radiators in orbit. Germain says the European Space Policy Institute is heavily focused on this challenge. And that's only one hurdle.
1.
Launch costs remain high. Electronics degrade under radiation. Connected solar panels must be enormous, and orbital eclipses still require energy storage. Experts agree none of these problems are impossible, but solving all of them at once is another matter. So when does this become real? The hype suggests soon. The experts say not quite. Ozan Ahmed Chetin, an emerging technologies expert at the SETA think tank in Washington, D.C., says small orbital computing demos could appear by the end of the 2020s, handling niche tasks like processing satellite data directly in space. But hyperscale AI training, that's decades away. Projections point to sub-megawatt platforms in the late 2020s to early 2030s, tens to hundreds of megawatts by the mid-2030s if launch costs collapse, and true gigawatt-scale facilities not until the 2040s or later. In other words, this is a long game. There's also the environmental question. Orbital data centers could relieve pressure on Earth's grids, eliminate water-intensive cooling, and free up land. But the impacts don't disappear, they shift. Rocket manufacturing, frequent launches, satellite replacements, and space debris all carry environmental costs of their own. If Earth-based data centers move to clean energy and advanced cooling, the advantage of going to space narrows. As one analyst puts it, orbital data centers are not a silver bullet, especially not yet. What's clear is this. AI's growth is forcing a rethink of where computation happens. Space is no longer just a place for exploration, it's becoming a potential industrial zone. Whether orbital data centers become the backbone of AI or remain an ambitious experiment will depend on breakthroughs that haven't happened yet. But the race has begun, not to the moon, not to Mars, but to the cloud, in orbit. That's all for this episode of Aloud, based on the piece, The New Space Race, Why AI Giants Are Betting on Orbital Data Centers, published on TRT World on February the 4th, 2026. I'm your host Afzal Ahmed, thanks for listening.